Hey guys, sorry I can't be with you. I'm here on the Helton compound watching the world wake up. You might be able to hear the birds singing, watching God paint His beauty in the sky as the sun rises. So, I wanted to talk to you about our lesson this Sunday. It's from John chapter 11, it's 1 through 45, and deals with the resurrection of Lazarus by Jesus. We've all heard the story. I want to ask you some questions. Wish I could be with you to talk about them, but I want you guys to kind of think about it as I ask them to you. Have you ever been hopeless? And I don't mean frustrated, disappointed, unhappy, but I mean just sure enough, things are not going to work out. I know I have been a couple times in my life where it was just really, really, really hard. It can be a very difficult spot to be in. And it's possible you never have, just as young as you are, but you may have. But certainly you have been in a situation where things weren't working out. And that's kind of where we are when we're dealing with hopelessness, is that the circumstances aren't what we want them to be. I mean, that's obvious, but it's worth thinking about. It's not necessarily how we are, but it's how our circumstances are. So, as that ties into our lesson with Lazarus, Mary and Martha, sisters whom we've seen before, their brother Lazarus is really sick and obviously going to die if something doesn't happen. And so the sisters send word to Jesus, to come and help. And strangely, he actually waits a couple extra days. He hangs out where he is before he goes. Now, the scripture tells us why. It's for his glory, so that others can see who he is. But he shows up, and you know the rest of the story, of course, that ultimately he raises Lazarus from the dead. When he gets there, Lazarus has already died, and he raises Lazarus from the dead. But when he gets there, both sisters, talking to him separately, both have the same thing to say to him, and that's what I want to talk to you about. He says, they say, excuse me, if you had been here, he would not have died. Both of them. In other words, why weren't you here when we needed you? So, this is kind of timely. This is the lesson that was scheduled for this Sunday, but kind of timely given what we're doing, what we're going through with the coronavirus. And thinking, man, circumstances are really, really bad. And they are. They're certainly bad. But I want you to think about what makes you hopeless. Where the circumstances have been that have made you hopeless, and what are the things that have helped you kind of come out of that. One of my favorite scriptures that I tell you guys about is John 10:10, where Jesus talks about Satan is the liar, and he comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy. That he prowls around, looking to devour people. But that Jesus says, but he came so that you would have life and have it to the full. Jesus also told his disciples, he was telling them about what was going to happen to him, that he was going to be killed and resurrected, and trying to explain that to him. And he says to him, I'm telling you these things so that you would have peace in me. And he tells them, you're going to have troubles. That's what's going to happen. But to take heart that I've overcome the world. So how does it work that we're going to have troubles and we can be hopeful that Jesus promised us a life to the full? How do those two things go together? How's that possible? Because circumstances are bad, don't they define us? G.K. Chesterton, you ought to look him up sometime. G.K. Chesterton, he's quoted as, this is not a direct quote, but it's saying that we don't surrender because the circumstances are miserable. We surrender because we are miserable. It's also been said that joy is a function of gratitude, and gratitude is a function of perspective. And so, how are we looking at the things that are around us? That all things that happen, God either directs it or allows it. And so How is it that we can manage in bad circumstances to be hopeful? Well, one thing, obviously, is we're promised salvation. We're promised perfection in heaven with Jesus. I mean, that's a pretty good thing, you know. That should help us be extremely hopeful. But I think it's a little bit of a cop out to say, hey, well, heaven's coming, so we'll be in good shape here. Jesus promised us a life to the full here. So what does that mean? Well, perspective does have something to do with it. I mean, when your parents tell you that you have to do X, Y, and Z that you don't want to do, you're just not happy. It's a terrible thing, right? Well, with almost without exception, they're telling you to do these things because when you do them, good's going to come out of it. That you need to or have to do these things to get where you need to be. It's hard to accept that bad things that happen in this world can still have good things that come out of them. But ultimately, if you trust Jesus, if your peace is in Him, if you trust Him, then your perspective is different. And that's the bottom line. If you trust Him, your perspective is different. And so you can find joy. I mean, fruit of the Spirit is joy, right? He didn't give us a spirit of timidity or fear, but one of power and self-control and love. So trust in Jesus creates a perspective. You see things differently, I guess is a good way of putting it. And you know, it helps you see the good in it. It's been raining a whole bunch recently, and all we can think of when we see the rain is, golly, I'm tired of rain. I don't want it to rain. Well, this morning I'm enjoying the beauty, you can't see it, of a redbud tree. It's gorgeous. And the green that are on all the trees. Well, they didn't happen without the rain. Sunshine and rain made that happen. Combination of the two. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you take this time to change your perspective. It's certainly helping you. If you're stuck, not being able to do what you want to do, you kind of got to examine things a little bit differently. And I hope you see the beauty in what God is providing for you, because it's there. I hope to see you soon. I really miss you guys. I know that sounds like just words, but love being with you. I love to learn from you, and I'd love to see you. Hope to see you soon.